How's it going, traders? Hopefully you guys enjoy this weekly Forex forecast, and make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Alright, starting things off with the Cot Report for the US dollar index. The past week, the institutions got rid of 1,471 long contracts, and they also added 1,391 short contracts. Now, remember on the US dollar, we have this weekly uptrend. I called this demand zone right here. I said we're probably going to react off that zone, and look at the reaction we had. I do think we still have a little bit more juice left in the US dollar up move. As far as getting in long on US dollar pairs right now, I think it's completely fine. If you look at the daily chart here, we are inside of daily supply right here, but we did break this daily supply that was very significant, and now I do believe that we will probably be breaking this daily supply as well to continue with that overall weekly uptrend. Where's the US dollar going to go long term? I'm not really sure. I think it could go up a little bit more, and we'll probably see a bigger pullback. As far as long-term trends go, it's very difficult to tell what's going to happen. But like I said, I do believe this daily supply zone will end up breaking, and the reason I do think it's going to break is because we have this 4-hour demand zone being respected right here. What a wick down. This is from the news that just came out. I think Jerome Powell was speaking. So far the US dollar is looking still very strong. I would still be buying the US dollar until we can at least see this daily downtrend start. So yes, we did lose momentum on the daily chart for a bit, but clearly it's looking very strong again. I wouldn't even consider shorting any US dollar pairs until we can at least get all of this removed and have a daily downtrend. Then I would start to consider to short the US dollar pairs. But for now, I'm still very interested in getting in long the US dollar. All right, on to the EURUSD forecast. The past week, the institutions added 11,599 long positions, and they also added 12,924 short positions. Now, looking at the euro here, it's very obvious we have weekly downtrends and daily downtrends being respected. And on the lower time frame charts, like the 1-hour chart and even the 4-hour chart, we've clearly lost some of that momentum to the downside, and we're currently pushing up. But since we have that weekly and daily downtrend, I do believe we will most likely see the euro fall down from here. Now, I wouldn't really recommend getting in short just yet. The only time I would consider shorting the euro is if we can get at least this demand zone removed right here. If this one's removed as well, that would be great. That's more of an aggressive confirmation here. The most conservative thing I would look for shorts is for this 4-hour demand to be removed. So once this 4-hour demand gets removed, if there's a 4-hour supply zone right here, that would be a zone I would be very interested in getting in short at, whether it's confirmation or a set and forget trade based on the overall weekly downtrends. So with that being said, if there's a zone there, I will be interested in that zone, and you guys can get that zone if you become a YouTube or Patreon member. Links in the description down below. Only $5 CAD. You can get my zones marked on a daily basis. So for example, if we get a zone right here, you will also have that zone on this chart, and you could also look to trade in that area. So definitely check out that membership. Links in the description down below. And clearly we had a reaction off of this 4-hour supply zone. You could have looked for 15-minute confirmation coming off of that, but at the same time, it was a little risky based on the trend changing. I would have much preferred to look for confirmation in that zone rather than this zone, because at this time, the 4-hour chart was still trending down. So hopefully all of this makes sense. And as far as the long positions go in the euro, I just don't really recommend it. It's very, very possible, though, that we do continue to push up and react off that daily supply to the downside. So definitely keep an eye on this daily supply zone if we do continue to go up on the euro. But overall, it's looking very weak, and I still believe that we will be rolling over. But if we do push up, I could see us reacting off that daily supply like that. All right, on to gold, XAUUSD. The past week, the institutions got rid of 769 long positions, and they also added 14,548 short contracts. So with that being said, if you've been following me for a while and you read my community post on my YouTube channel, we talked about this weekly supply zone and how we were probably going to react off of it, and we moved down. So clearly we're still moving down on gold. Gold is looking extremely weak right now. I do expect gold to probably drop to at least 1,700 and probably even lower, maybe around 1,650 to 1,600 in the long term. That is my prediction on gold. Whether it happens or not, who knows? We'll definitely see. But as far as trading goes on gold, since we are reacting off weekly supply and we have a daily downtrend, we don't have a weekly downtrend, but I think shorts are really the only way to go here on gold. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't really short until we can get this 4-hour demand removed. Now, The reason I want this 4-hour demand removed is because we clearly had 4-hour downward momentum here, and we had a supply zone. That supply zone actually broke, leaving us with this demand. And so with that being said, I want to see this demand taken out first before we just hop on short. Now what you could do, there's a couple options. If we get a 4-hour supply zone like this and we pull back into that supply zone, you could definitely look for confirmation in here. As far as a set and forget trade goes, right here where you just set it and forget it and let the trade run out, it's a little risky, but it's definitely possible. Now, if we do break this demand zone, the other thing I'll be looking for is for this low to be removed here, because then you'll have the ability to draw that downward trend line, and we'll have a 4-hour downtrend. And at that point, we can start to look for set and forget trades on a 15-minute chart as far as day trading goes. So once we can get this demand zone removed and this low taken out, as far as day trading goes, gold is looking fantastic for short positions. As far as swing trade short positions go, I think that's fine as well. And as far as longs go, I just don't like it, especially just looking at this weekly chart here. It's looking weak. If it's not looking weak, it's at least just looking choppy, and that's very risky in my opinion. So since we are reacting off weekly supply and we have a daily downtrend, I would only really be looking for shorts here on gold, and my target would probably be at least $1,700 an ounce, and then I would start to look to take profits. But definitely wait for that 4-hour demand to be removed, because who knows, this is a 4-hour demand zone, and we could definitely see price push up from here. Whether or not, it pushes up all the way up to all-time highs, we could definitely just see a small reaction and then a push down. So I'm just waiting for this 4-hour demand to be taken out first before before applying my capital in short on gold to trade with that daily downtrend. USDJPY forecast. The past week, the banks added 15,342 long contracts, and they also added 5,426 short positions. So remember, on the USD yen, we have a very strong weekly uptrend. If you've been watching my forecast for a while, I've been talking about how for USD yen, it's buy, buy, buy. I would not be shorting against this weekly uptrend. And in the last couple forecasts, probably the last 2-3 weeks now, I've been talking about this daily chart and how it's so significant. I've been talking about this daily supply zone and how we should be shaping our trade around that. I said I was waiting for this daily supply zone to be taken out before getting in long. And now we have taken out this daily supply zone as I predicted, leaving us with daily demand down here. So what do we do from here? Well, we still don't have a daily uptrend. We will have a daily uptrend once this high is removed like this. Then longs become even more appealing. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with getting in long right now. And there's definitely a few options. The first option is if you're a swing trader, you're entering on a 1-hour or a 4-hour chart, there's this daily demand right here. You could wait for that to hit and look for a confirmation trade coming off of that demand zone. And if you don't know what confirmation is, check out my trading tips playlist in the link down below in the description. I have a full video on trading confirmation, many videos, and definitely check that out if you don't know what confirmation is. So that's one option. Or let's say price does not push down to this daily demand and we break this supply and break this all-time high, or not all-time high, sorry. And we're left with demand down here. Well, you could do the exact same thing in this daily demand zone down here. So there's a few options on this daily chart. But overall, USD yen is looking great for buying opportunities. As far as the lower time frames go, we have a few problems to deal with here. We have a 1-hour supply zone right here. If you're going to be day trading this, I think it's the best thing to do is to be conservative and wait for this supply to be taken out. And if we're left with 1-hour demand right here, you could look for 5-minute confirmation day trades coming off of that 1-hour demand zone. The overall safest thing to be doing for day trades, and even really any trades in this pair, is to wait for this 4-hour supply zone to be taken out. Why this supply zone? Well, it's because we've reacted off of it here and it's proven its significance. So I would like to see a zone formed here after we break this demand zone, and that 4-hour demand zone I will have for the Patreon YouTube members, and you can use that zone for confirmation coming off of that on a 15-minute chart. So overall, the USD yen is looking fantastic for longs right now. We just need to wait for those lower time frame, like 1-hour and 4-hour supply zones, to be taken out, and then we can start to look for long positions. Now, a lot of guys might disagree with me and say, well, why would you be buying, at all-time highs like this? And I totally understand. But my thought process is that we have a weekly uptrend and a monthly uptrend on USD Japanese yen, so I don't mind getting in long and acquiring and applying my capital to the long side based on that. Yes, it's very possible we react to the downside from the supply zone, but I'd much rather be getting in long than short. And that, yes, that does not mean that we just have to be going long and picking one. We can obviously just sit on the sidelines, but in my opinion, longs all the way here on USD yen to continue to trade with this overall weekly uptrend. All right, on to GBPUSD. The past week, the banks added 14,700 long contracts, and they also added 9,500 short positions. Now, if you look at the weekly chart here, we clearly have a weekly downtrend and a daily downtrend. That is why I took a short position in the pound this past week. Last week, my bad. So that worked out well. I'm out of my position now, and I'm still looking for shorts in this pair. Why? Well, because we have a weekly and a daily downtrend. As far as trades go right now, there is a beautiful 4-hour supply zone right here. And you could have got a trade off of that zone, but now obviously, it's a little late now. Price already reacted off of it. So what we're waiting for here is for this 4-hour demand to be taken out. And if there's a 4-hour supply zone here, that would be a fantastic zone to get involved with to the short side. I do not recommend getting in long on the pound and trading against the US dollar trend right now. I just do not. I cannot stress that enough. So as far as the pound goes, weekly and daily downtrends are looking very, very strong. And even some of the other pound pairs that are looking pretty decent for trades too, like the pound yen, pound Aussie. I've been doing some custom analysis on the pound Aussie for some of the members. And if you want, check out the tier 2 membership as well. I know I already mentioned it, but the tier 2 membership, you can get custom analysis, and we go over all of the other pound pairs every single Sunday in a live stream. So definitely check that out. Links in the description down below. All right, looking at USDCAD, the past week the banks added 5,400 long positions, and they also added 1,774 short positions. Now, I hate this pair right now. I am not trading it. I'm only looking at it to update the zones for the members. I'm not even looking at it for my own sake. I just don't like it right now. And why don't I like it? Well, we have a weekly uptrend for sure. I totally agree with that. But the daily chart is just a mess. It's just completely sideways. The 1-hour chart down here is sideways, and the 4-hour chart here is sideways as well. So the only thing I can really say on the USDCAD is, since we have the weekly uptrend on the top left screen, you can see price is clearly in an uptrend. The only thing I would even consider here is getting in long. But what we need to see first is a 4-hour uptrend. And what do we need for that 4-hour uptrend? Well, we need to see this zone taken out, which is also this high, and then we will have that ability to draw the trend line, and we have a 4-hour uptrend. As soon as that happens, all the opportunities start to come to us. Meaning we have a 4-hour uptrend, so we can start the day trade, set and forget trade on lower time frames, like a 15-minute or 5-minute chart to the long side. If there's a 4-hour demand zone down here, you could look for confirmation day trades in the 4-hour demand zone. But until that, I just don't recommend trading this pair. And since we do have the weekly uptrend, it is my belief that we will see this 4-hour supply zone taken out, especially since we've reacted off of that supply zone already. And this supply zone is very significant because it not only broke demand down here, but it also reacted off of it. So any zone that removes this demand zone this supply zone, that would be a very strong zone. So if that takes place, I could see something like that taking place afterwards. So as far as the USD CAD goes right now, it's looking like it has a lot of potential this upcoming week. We just need to wait to see that 4-hour supply zone removed first before we can continue to trade with that overall weekly uptrend. AUDUSD forecast, the Aussie dollar. The past week, the banks added 3,500 long contracts, and they also added 4,287 short contracts. And in the last week's forecast, I talked about this daily demand zone right here and how we could see a reaction off of it right there. So clearly we reacted off of it very well. I also talked about how there was a potential trading setup coming off of this 4-hour supply zone. And look at the reaction we had off of my 4-hour supply. Just picture perfect. I think we had some news event come out and we reacted to the downside off of that. Now, getting confirmation off that 4-hour supply would have been very difficult because I'm pretty sure it was a very quick in and out. So unfortunately, we probably couldn't have gotten a trade off of that, but that's all good. Now, as far as the Aussie dollar goes right now, I'm not seeing a whole lot as far as setups go. Overall, we have a weekly downtrend, and I do believe the US dollar is going to continue to go up for at least a little bit longer. So I don't want to be getting in long against the US dollar. So I don't want to be getting in long on the Aussie dollar, trading against that weekly downtrend. So to be very, very clear, what I am waiting for here is for, well, maybe not me personally, but because I don't really day trade, but what you should be waiting for is for this low to be taken out. Why this low? Well, then we will have the ability to draw the 4-hour downtrend, and then we could start to day trade to the downside, set and forget trades on a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart. That would be completely fine. Other than that, I just don't see really any setups yet. Obviously, that is an aggressive confirmation, waiting for that 4-hour downtrend and looking for shorts. That's aggressive. And why is it aggressive? Well, because we don't have a daily downtrend anymore, and we are close to this daily demand right here. With that being said, it is more conservative to wait for this daily demand to be taken out. But since we have the weekly downtrend, I think it's pretty clear that this demand will be removed, and we will continue down at least until further notice, until we can get massive trend changes. So I just want to be trading with this downward trend on the weekly chart. Now, getting in short before this daily supply is fine. It's a little aggressive. We could see a reaction off of that, but overall, I want to be trading with the weekly downtrend. So I'm pretty much ignoring this daily demand zone for now. Yes, it's aggressive, but I just, like I said, I can't say it enough. I want to trade with that weekly downtrend. I do not want to be getting in long, although yes, it is looking pretty strong on the lower time frames. I do believe we will probably continue to push down on the Aussie dollar. All right, on to the USD Swiss franc. The past week, the banks got rid of 923 long positions, and they added 1,768 short positions. Now, before we get into it here, remember we have a weekly uptrend and a daily downtrend. So this pair is very confusing. We pretty much have to almost ignore the weekly chart, but remember, longs are obviously a little bit better as far as swing trading goes. Now, the daily chart's looking very interesting right now. We have a daily downtrend, but look at the reaction we're getting off of this trend line. What I believe is going to happen, since we have a weekly uptrend, I believe this is about to shoot off like a rocket. I'm not saying we're going to go straight up to the moon, but I do believe we will be breaking this trend line, probably leaving us with demand right here. I do think that we could start to see a move up, and that would be our basing for the demand zone. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for here on the USD Swiss. We do have a 4-hour upward momentum right now. We broke the downward momentum. We have 4-hour upward momentum, but no 4-hour trend or no 1-hour trend either. And on the 1-hour chart at the bottom right screen, we reacted off of this supply zone. So as far as trades go, I would wait for this 1-hour supply zone to be taken out before getting in long for day trades. As far as shorts go, I don't like it right now for shorts. I wouldn't even consider shorting until we can get this 4-hour demand zone removed. So if something like this takes place, then if there's a 4-hour supply right here, that would be a decent area to look for shorts. Why this demand zone? Well, because this demand zone is responsible for removing the downward trend line. So that's why I want that demand zone removed first, even though I don't even think we're going to get down to there. So longs pretty much all the way here. So we need to see this 1-hour supply zone taken out first. That is one option. The other option is what I'm waiting for, because I'm a swing trader, is, like I said, I'm waiting for this daily demand to be formed, removing this downward trend line. And if we pull back to this daily demand, I will start to look for swing positions long in that daily demand. So nothing really yet here on the USD Swiss as far as trading setups go, but a lot of potential coming up in the next couple weeks as soon as we can start to see this daily downward momentum start to shift to the upside. All right, last but not least, we have crude oil. The past week, the banks added 4,947 long positions. Sorry, they got rid of that many. And as far as short positions go, they got rid of 36,000 short positions. This chart is looking extremely interesting. I love a chart that looks like this, and I'll tell you why. Because we have a weekly demand zone in control right now, and we have daily supply in control right now. But what I can see here is, well, first of all, let me just say, I don't really know what to be doing here in oil. I want to get in long, and I want to wait for this daily supply zone to be taken out first before getting in long, since we reacted off of that weekly demand. So longs are definitely better as far as long term goes, but I do believe we could see oil push down at least below 80 in the meantime, maybe down to $70 a barrel, which would be a fantastic buying opportunity on oil. So as far as oil goes right now, there's a few options. If you do believe oil is going to go up, there's a little 4-hour demand zone right here that we reacted off of, so you could be looking for day trade confirmation to the long side coming off of that 4-hour demand. But since we are in daily supply, that is a very, very risky trading setup. So be very, very careful. And if you are going to do that, I only recommend trading with half the risk or quarter risk or whatever, from whatever you usually do, based on daily supply being in control. So that's one option. The second option, like I said, is what I'm waiting for, and I feel like I'm repeating myself because a lot of the forecasts are the same because not a lot happens. Well, I'm waiting for this daily supply to be taken out, and if we're left with daily demand here and we pull back to that demand, I'll be looking for swing trades long in there. So clearly we have a significant daily supply zone right here that we've reacted off of twice now. So when that's removed, I think all signs are pointing to the upside, but who knows? We could just see this continue to fall down to $80, $70 a barrel in the long run. So oil looking very, very interesting right now. The only thing I would really recommend, I know I talked all this stuff about this 4-hour demand zone, but honestly, the safest option right now is to just wait and see what happens off this daily supply, and I don't really think we should be shorting based on weekly demand. So shorts pretty much are off the table, and even if shorts work out, there's not really a lot of profit margin anyways, so it depends on how well you are at holding your position, but like I said, I would just revolve my trade around this daily supply. If it's taken out, great. We can start to look for longs. If it reacts to the downside, that's great too. We can get a better dip buying opportunity down below. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.